So the starting order as follows will be Ville Leinen and Kristianstad on the front row, with Ville Leinen on pole position. Then at Sicily's Riccardo Alberti alongside will be Juuso Panttila, so that makes it two Finns in the top four. Peter Bezel, who's currently sitting, if memory serves me correctly, second in the championship to brother Jakub, starts on fifth, and alongside will be Poland's Piotr Wisnicki. Row number 4 is David Remy from Sweden in the 455 from Dan Holland Racing, and then we also have Jakub Bezel alongside the Swede on row number 4. Roberto Pajewski and Slavomir Moranski continue their battle for DD2 Masters supremacy. So Pajewski on pole position for the class in 9th on the road, with Moranski from Poland, this last year's inaugural DD2 Masters champion, who took it at the final round at Wackersdorf last year, on 10th position. Then we have Sweden's very own Madeleine Radny, and then also Dames Racing Team's very own Belgian hotshot Sebastian de Grand on the 447. They complete row number 6 with Christoph Adams, Daniel Oberheuter, Florian Breitenbach. A difficult qualifying session, I must admit, for DJ or Dionysius Liveris on 16th, with Michael Becker from Germany, sporting the RS competition colours, in 17th position. Again, as with Senior Max, these drivers will compete over the next 10 minutes plus one additional lap. Expect some fireworks as always with DD2 and DD2 Masters. And I'm going to have to say here that with Dionysius Liveris, he was hoping for a better turnaround after practice yesterday. Qualifying hasn't gone its way for the Greek, but the racing is something different altogether. Good control from Ville Leinen and Sorensen on the front row as we head towards the penultimate couple of corners ahead of the rolling start formation. 10 minutes now set on the timing gantry, just past the start-finish line here. As you can hear that some of the drivers giving their engines a little bit more of the revs. So let's find out what happens. 125cc centrifugal wet clutches in the gearbox side on these DD2 and DD2 Masters carts. Do we go? Lights out! Yes, we do, and already the 566 of Roberto Pajewski takes a defensive line against one of the DD2 competitors. So Pajewski, starting in 9th position, might have already made his way up to 8th to try and bridge a gap between himself and Moranski in the initial phase. So Ville Leinen leads. Oh, bit of a tussle there for what is 5th position on the road. That looks to be between the likes of Bezel and Panttila, maybe, but I'm just seeing where David Remy is in all this, and he looks like he's absolutely catapulted himself up to 4th from 7th already. So Ville Leinen leads. It looks like Riccardo Alberti in the 444. Yep, he's running in 2nd position. And it looks like we've got the 402 of Peter Bezel, who is being hounded by the young lad on home soil, David Remy, who goes up the inside quite cleanly of Bezel going into turn 1. He knows this track very, very well. He's been running here in Senior Max over the last few seasons and now switches to DD2 for 2019, and that just showed how much track knowledge is going to be beneficial for those drivers that use this quite a lot. And a bit more tussling a little bit further down the order. Looks to be Christian Sorensen involved with that. That's not going to go out very well. It looks, it could be that there may also be Juuso Panttila. I spot some Dames Racing Team colours. I'm looking where Dionysius Liveris is. Still showing in 15th at the moment as a Greek driver. He's got a few drivers to negotiate. Madeleine Radny, Christoph Adams, to name but a few. Florian Breitenbach definitely getting his elbows out here. And Adams really now trying to keep with the 566 of Roberto Pajewski. And Adams sends it up the inside of the Austrian. Nice work by the 555. Let's just see. Lap times between 1st and 2nd. Well, Remy's now up into 3rd. He's going to chase down Riccardo Alberti, who is going to be the cork and the proverbial bottle, because the Italian needs to try and catch up, but he's being dropped by Ville Leinen by at least a 1/10.5 of a second per lap. And it was a very much case in point. 53.563 for Ville Leinen, 53.723 for Alberti. And it looks like Peter Bezel is trying to get... Oh no, Bezel's lost out to Remy. Remy's now up into 3rd. This is great from the Austrian. It looks like there's a switchback of positions between the two. And behind them they've got Juuso Panttila and Christian Sorensen. Behind that is Jakub Bezel, the current points leader. He's currently sitting in 7th position. Piotr Wisnicki in 8th. 9th place is Sebastian de Grand. Muransky is now leading DD2 Masters in this race. And Christoph Adams clearly not happy with the driver in front, which is Dionysius Liveris. So, but Dionysius now up from, not too sure what that was for, whether that was a robust manoeuvre. It was considered a bit too abrasive in the mind of Christoph Adams, but Dionysius Liveris now up into 12th position. The Greek's now going to try and charge forward, as I do know he can, as I do know that he can do. So he's now got 6 minutes and 48 seconds plus an additional lap to go. But the lead between Alberti in 2nd, Ville Villainen in 1st. Now David Remy has become a little bit of a stopgap, so to speak, in 3rd position, because he's now having to fend off Peter Bezel, Jusso Pantila and Christian Sorensen. This is the battle for 3rd position at the moment. He's lost out to Bezel already, coming out of the final corner. And here goes Pantila up the inside. Might have been a bit of contact there between the pairs. So that's dropped Remy out of the top 5 now. That looks to be 7th position. Now he's lost that as well. Did Wisnicki get past the Dane as there's more changes for position? And I'm just trying to see who... So I was just seeing Sebastian de Grand. Looks to be that we've got a great battle happening between Florian Breitenbach and the guy that is sporting very, very different colours this weekend, Muransky. Now, he was recently interviewed and he's been to the grand finals 5 times, which included last year. Oh, we've got one cart pulling off to the track. Don't tell me that's Dionysius Liveris. Absolutely furious. Absolutely furious. Now, was that a bit of retaliation from Christoph Adams? Not too sure. Wasn't in my line of sight. That is down to the stewards. But the 2 at the front are going quicker and quicker. But it's not Ville Villainen who's leading the lap times at the moment, because that's being led by Piotr Wisnicki. As we've got more changes of position happening. Looks like we've got Jakub Bezer trying to get past Jusso Pantila. Has that happened? Not too sure. Quite really can't make it out of my line of sight at the minute. But Riccardo Alberti was just under 4/10 off of Ville Villainen. The Italian is going to go and close down the gap to the Flying Finn for the lead of this race. So we head down. Alberti. Now, what's happened with... That's uncharacteristic of Ville Villainen. Has he got an issue? Or did Alberti just carry through so much more raw pace and momentum into the second from penultimate corner? Now Alberti leads in the 444. Villainen being hunted down by Bezel, Sorensen, Pantila, Bezel. Sebastian de Grand is... No, it was Sebastian de Grand. Sebastian de Grand's also dropped out of the order. Has there been a problem for both Dames Racing Team drivers? Well, Dionysius Liveris is 9 seconds off the lead. That's a real shame for the Greek, because he got up into the top 10. And now at the front of the field, Alberti is leading away. He was 6.5 tenths ahead of Ville Villainen on that last lap. Will the Italian be able to pull the gap, extend the gap? I'm not too sure. I don't really think that might happen. The reason being is that Villainen is being chased down. We now have our first 5-second penalty of the race meeting in DD2 and DD2 Masters. Unfortunately, Jusso Pantila is the recipient of that in the 451 for pushing. So Pantila currently 1.392 seconds off the leader. That is going to drop him way outside of the top 13, as the battle royale after Villainen is now starting to kick off somewhat, because Peter Bezel is hunting down the Finn, and you've then also got the Dane of Christian Sorensen, but Jusso Pantila now is going to try and move up the field. And if Pantila can have a tactic, as there's a great battle there. That looks to be the other Bezel there with Piotr Wisnicki. Wisnicki also on a flyer, and he started a little bit further down. Well, he started in 6th position. He's now back in the position where he started after qualifying practice. David Remy, in the meantime, up into 8th. So Remy's starting to make a comeback. So he's one position of where he started around about 7 minutes ago. And I tell you what, Ville Villainen has just been passed, not just by one. Make that 2 carts, because he's just had both Peter Bezel and Christian Sorensen go straight past him through turn 1. And it looks like that Pantila is also going to go up the inside. Yes, he does. He forces the move. Villainen has to give way there. But then Villelainen tries to go back up the inside of Pantila. Pantila's really got to stop battling with Villelainen to get up the road and quickly, because he's got a 5-second penalty for pushing. This is going to allow the likes of David Remy, Jakob Bezel, Sebastian de Gron and Florian Breitenbach, who's on the end of that train. So Florian running on the Maranello chassis with knees racing. But at the moment, Riccardo Alberti from Italy still continues to lead. Lap number 9 now. Just under 2 minutes to go, plus an additional lap. Let's see what the gaps are now. Sorensen now has 3.5 tenths between himself and Peter Bezel. So it's going to be very interesting to see how the Czech Republic gets on with Denmark breathing down their exhaust pipes, so to speak, as there's an absolute gaggle of carts being sort of led along, as Villelainen is really having to fend off David Remy. Remy's really come back alive now. He started swinging, but he's being sort of slightly hit from behind. There's a little bit of pushing there from Jakob Bezel trying to push his way forward. And you've got Sebastian de Gron. Breitenbach is definitely clearly in the mix with the battle for the lower half of the top 10. But Riccardo Alberti had a 9/10 of a second advantage. But Peter Bezel has closed the gap, I think. And he has by nearly 3/10 of a second. It's now down to 0.641. As Roberto Pajewski definitely looking very aggressive indeed. Tried to go up the inside of rival in DD2 Masters, Moransky, as Christoph Adams now leads that category at the moment. Of course, Christoph has already booked his place to the Grand Finals in Sarno a few months ago at the Stars and Stripes Open in the United States. But he is leading the class. Moransky having to keep his elbows out and not be elbow shy, so to speak, without unfair contact ahead of Pajewski. So leaders coming around the final corner. We now have 19 seconds on the clock. Riccardo Alberti from Italy continues to lead ahead of the Czech Republic's Peter Bezel. Kristian Sorensen is still in third ahead of Jussi Pantila, who has got up the road. Now he still has that 5-second penalty. He's fourth on the road, but that is going to drop him down to around about 11th position by my reckoning. So the time has now expired. This is the penultimate lap of the race. What a drive from Riccardo Alberti thus far. And the Italian started in third position. So just a few corners away. We're coming into the final sector here to conclude the first round of heats here at the second round of the Rotax Max Euro Trophy. But what a drive. He didn't have luck on home soil, but here in Kristianstad, the Italian comes out swinging. Riccardo Alberti is going to have one more lap to go. He's really come alive in this race and at this track. And just keeping an eye a little bit further down the order, and 429 of Daniel Oberheuter was looking a bit up the inside of Roberto Pajewski and is right on the back bumper going into turn 3. Overtakes, that's really helped him, because now that's given a bit more of an advantage for Slavomir Moransky in terms of where they're going to end up at the end of the qualifying stages. But we are now on the final lap. And I have to say, well, Kristian Sorensen is keeping Peter Bezel very, very honest indeed. But the pair have been arguing. That has led one driver to get away and to take the first win here for DD2 and DD2 Masters here at the Asumring in Kristianstad is the treble 4. It is Riccardo Alberti that wins ahead of Peter Bezel, with Kristian Sorensen rounding out the overall top 3 in this race. And in DD2 Masters, Christoph Adams takes the win on the Sodi Kart chassis. So just keeping an eye on what's happening, because I'm just waiting for the timing to take into consideration the 5-second pushing penalty for Jussi Pantila. But Riccardo Alberti wins here in Sweden. Peter Bezel takes second position by just 0.539 seconds. And was just 2/10 ahead of Kristian Sorensen, who tried to close down on the Czech driver but couldn't make it happen. Piotr Wisnicki takes fourth. David Remy comes back to finish in fifth position on home soil. Villelainen, who was in the wars in Adria a few weeks ago, finishes in sixth ahead of Jakob Bezel. Florian Breitenbach takes the top 10, finishing 8th position ahead of Sebastian de Grand and Christophe Adams, with 2 Belgians rounding out the top 10. Slavomir Moransky takes the runner-up spot in this particular encounter in DD2 Masters and finishes in 11th, ahead of Jussi Pantala, who was demoted to 12th with that post-race 5-second penalty for pushing. Roberto Bajewski, Mladen Radny, Dionysius Livris, who got his way up to 10th now, ends up in 15th, with Daniel Oberheuter and Michael Becker rounding out the 17-strong, all drivers completing the 13-lap race.